Connecticut, but St. Patrick's Day, one student in our class came in without wearing any, I'm looking at your coat, one person came in without any green, and the nun sent him home and told him to change his clothes. I mean, it was kind of in a city, so he didn't really have to go far. So, welcome to St. Patrick's Day.
Go home and change your clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to this St. Patrick's Day morning. My name is David Peters, and we've got my friends here, Virginia Mattox, Dr. Brian Mitchell, and Dr. Peter Cook. And Brian has been hosting a St. Patrick's Day party in this area since 1982. So we've been celebrating St. Patrick's Day together for 40 years. Of course, Virginia just joined us 2 years ago when she finally came of age.
Yeah, she's just a young thing.
It's all relative.
Dr. Mitchell's family owned an Irish pub in Boston, and he tended bar there in the summers while attending medical school. And over the years, we've heard many stories about his family's pub and the Irish musicians who passed through there. And I thought it would be special for Brian to share some of his stories, songs, and Irish history with us this morning. Brian?
There we go. Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yes, I'm Irish American. My grandparents were born in Ireland. My parents met and married in Boston and raised four of us. My father and mother owned a pub, and routinely every summer they would visit Ireland, some of their relatives, second cousins and all, to go to the summer fairs, the music festivals, and pick out some of the best talent and bring them over to America on a visa to stay for several months and sing at the pub. And this was when I was in my 20s, between school, medical school, and college. I would stay at the pub and be behind the bar where I could witness what was happening in the pub. And from my point, and vantage point in the pub, I could just see all this humanity around me, Irish humanity, many of the Irish in Boston coming to the pub, enjoying fellowship, good food, and good fare, and good drink, and enjoy, in particular, all the music being sung. And this is music being sung by Irish folks who knew the songs of the time. And when I was there at the pub, I enjoyed the companionship of these Irish singers. And I remember the songs, and I still do remember those songs from years ago, and you'll hear a couple of them this morning. But it was a great time, a wonderful time for me. I enjoyed it so much, and it still is a memorable time in my life. So coming here to Murphy many years ago, I wanted to carry on, and so every St. Patrick's Day, usually at the depot, we would gather friends and family and assemble and celebrate. We had what was called a Cayley party, which is a traditional family event in Ireland where young and old neighbors would come and gather, bring food, have drink, and share songs and stories. And wonderful time for me, and was happy to carry on the tradition. In the last few years, we've done it here at the folk school in Morningsong, and we'll do it again. So. As you know, the Irish love their country, they love food and friends and Cayley parties and such, but they also love their drink. And we'll start off with a song called Jug of Punch. Now, punch in Ireland is different than punch in America. In Ireland, it's made with whiskey. There's a bottle of whiskey, filling a punch bowl with then water and sugar, some lemon and clove, and everyone enjoys the punch at the party. So this is a song called A Jug of Punch. One fine evening in the month of June, as I was sitting with my glass and spoon, a songbird sat on an ivy branch, and the song he sang was a jug of punch. tooraloo, 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 tooraloo. A songbird sat on an ivy branch, and the song he sang was a jug of punch. What more diversion can man desire than to sit him bound by an alehouse fire? Upon his knee a pretty wench, and upon the table a jug of punch. Tooraloo, 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 tooraloo. Upon his knee a pretty wench, and upon the table a jug of punch. Let the doctors come with all their arts, they make no impression upon my heart. Even the cripple forgets his hunch when he sits beside a jug of punch. Tooraloo, 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 tooraloo. Even the cripple forgets his hunch when he sits beside a jug of punch. Well, if I'm drunk, well, leave me alone. And if you don't like, I'm sorry. Well, if I'm drunk, well, me money's me own. And if you don't like me, then leave me alone. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. Tooraloo, 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 tooraloo. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. Ah, when I'm dead and in my grave, no costly tombstone will I have. Just lay me down in my native peak, with a jug of punch at my head and feet. Tooraloo, 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 tooraloo. Just lay me down in my native peak, with a jug of punch at my head and feet. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I think, do you have a joke
Oh,
for
that's
us?
not a joke, it's a fact. You know, I'm a psychologist, and so I just read a study that they found that men only have two motivations: hunger and sex. Now I thought, what can you do with that? Well, you women need to know this. If you're with a man and he gets that look, make him a sandwich.
I don't know why I think that's so funny.
I don't.
Well, I've been attending these St. Patrick's Day parties for a long time, and so I'm a songwriter, so I had to write an Irish tune, and it's called Irish Women and Guinness Beer. Ready? Yeah, there we go. Well, way back in college, we loved to shoot the breeze, sitting around that black and white TV. We were partial to St. Patrick, most of us would say. There are two reasons we love this holiday: Irish women and Guinness beer. Enough of both to last a year. What's heaven like? It's my idea. Irish women and Guinness beer. There was an Irish rebel named Seamus McGuinn. Could tell where he was going, 'cause you knew where he had been. Had a weakness for the ladies, and he caused quite a din when he told supporters what motivated him. Irish women and Guinness beer. Enough of both to last a year. What's heaven like? gone up and died, and we were in his will. Left us all his money and an old-time whiskey still. His will read, dearest lads, remember your buddy Sean. Drink a lot of whiskey and spend my money on Irish women and Guinness beer. Enough of both to last a year. What's heaven like? Here's my idea. Irish women and Guinness beer. What's heaven like? Here's my idea. Irish women and Guinness beer. Irish women and Guinness beer.
All right. All right.
Do you have a joke for us, Virginia?
Well, it's more of a story.
Okay.
Did you guys hear about the priest who was stopped for speeding? Anybody hear about that one?
No.
Well, there was this priest, and he was driving back to Dublin, and he was just like, flying down the road, and he was pulled over by a Garda, I think is the term. Is that right?
Right.
What they call policemen in Ireland. So the Garda pulls him over, and he goes up to the car, and he sees the priest collar through the window, and he taps on the window, says, "Father, I need you to roll down the window." And the priest rolls down the window, and this great just waft of alcohol fumes just fly out of the car. And the Garda says, he's able to look into the car a little bit now that the window's down, and he sees an empty bottle of wine on the passenger seat. And he says, "Father, have you been drinking?" And the priest looks and he says, "Oh, only water." And he says, "Father," the Garda says, "Father, I can smell the wine." And the priest looks from the bottle to the Garda to the heavens and says, "Oh, good Lord, he's done it again."
Brian, history of the Irish Rebel?
Oh, yeah,
Talk
sure.
about that?
Yes, thanks for reminding. The Irish have their songs about drink, about their country, but they also have many a song about the Irish rebel. And I'll sing one now, and it's about James Connolly. And the story begins in the Easter Rising of 1917, when there was the first armed revolt against the English and their occupation in many years, and it did eventually lead to independence. But the rebels of 1916 in Dublin were overcome by the British and arrested, and several of the leaders were executed. And among them was James Connolly. He was a well-known Irishman. He was a scholar, a writer, politician, and during the revolt, he was wounded, taken to hospital, and then when the day of execution came, he was brought to Kilmainham jail to be executed, strapped to his chair in front of the firing squad. And this is a rebel song that's beloved by the Irish. A great crowd was gathered outside of Kilmainham. Their heads were uncovered, they knelt on the ground. For inside that grim prison lay a true Irish soldier, his life for his country about to lay down. He went to his death like a true son of Ireland. The firing party he bravely did face, and the order rang out, "Present arms, fire." James Connolly fell into a ready-made grave. The black flag was hoisted, the cruel deed was over. Gone was the man who loved Ireland so well. There was many a sad heart in Dublin that morning when they murdered James Connolly, the Irish rebel. the four courts of Dublin. The English bombarded the spirit of freedom they tried hard to quell. But from out of the din came the cry, no surrender, was the cry of James Conley, the Irish rebel. Thanks.
By the way, do you know what the giant said to the leprechaun?
I do not know, Pete.
Speak up.
Okay.
It's pithy, I like it.
Do you have a joke for us, Brian?
Is it my
Yeah.
turn? Okay, good. All right. A couple of Irishmen, Kevin and Michael, were good friends, but one day Kevin calls Michael and says, "Dear Michael, you've got to help me. I woke up this morning, I read the paper, and my name was in the obituary page, and it just upset me so much. I do not know what to do. Please, Michael, give me a hand. Tell me what I can do to help myself." And Michael, at the other end of the phone, thought a moment and says, "Now, Kevin, tell me, I have one question. Where are you calling from?" That's a cute one.
Oh, and while you're at it, why don't you talk about the time you reopened the bar?
Yeah, this is an old story, a family story. It's actually the last night of the pub. And this is back in the 70s, after many years of being open and serving the Irish folks in Boston. The pub had to close. My father was sick. He was actually in the hospital. And he sold the pub and it closed. The license was gone, the food, the drink, everything was gone. But St. Patrick's Day was coming, and we felt the need to celebrate. My older brother, Kevin, needed some funds, a little grub stake, to leave town and set up some career elsewhere.
And
So
what was that exactly? What did he do?
Well, he ended up being a casino dealer in Las Vegas. He changed jobs from the pub to the casino, and made himself pretty good. But in any case, at that time, there were reasons to do it, and so we decided to open the pub. Now, we didn't own it. We didn't have the license. We had no food or drink. We had no staff. And we had the key to the front door, and that was about all we had. And so a family got together, organized the staff. We bought some corned beef and cabbage. We got a couple of kegs of beer and some Irish whiskey, and advertised that we were open. And in Boston, a lot of the Irish will just go to celebrate St. Patrick's Day one day a year, and most of the rest of the time they don't know where the pubs are, and they don't generally show up. But on St. Patrick's Day, everybody fills the pub. So we knew we'd have a good crowd, and we started up with the celebration of St. Patrick's. Now, the afternoon was easy to find the Irish singers, but in the evening, we couldn't find an Irish band because it was late, and we hadn't scheduled anybody. So we got able to get 3 young boys, about 15, 16, that know 2 Irish songs, McNamara's band, and if you're Irish, you come into the parlor. It's kind of very simple Irish tunes, and that's all they knew. So we get them out in front of the crowd, a room about this size, full of people eating and drinking, having a great time, and expecting some really fine Irish music, which they were not to get, and we knew that. So I was tasked to be on the stage and be with them and encourage them. And between the couple songs they sang, I would put some music on the turntable, trying my best to entertain those folks who really were eager for a lot of good music. And some of the Irish can really be very strong about their interest in these songs. And we were afraid for these poor folks, these 3 young kids, and what might happen to them if they didn't please the crowd. Well, fortunately, right behind the stage, there was a door leading out of the building, and I was pleased to know that if the crowd had rushed the stage or somebody wanted to take over, we could get them swiftly out of the place. Unfortunately, one of the fellows was blind, and I had some particular worries about whether he could make it out. But I sat beside him and encouraged him, and the poor fellows, they carried on and had their couple songs, and eventually the crowd cooled off and supported the kids, and the show went on, and it was a good time. But pretty anxious for me at the moment. In any case, it was a successful St. Patrick's Day. Folks liked it. My father got well. My brother got his grub stake, went to be a casino dealer, and that was the end, the last day of the Irish pub in Boston for me. A nice memory, and I'm glad to share it with you. And,
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what happens next day.
Well, I was just going to say, didn't the pub win a number of awards?
Oh yeah. Yeah. At that time in Boston, the Irish music scene was just developing, and the Irish pubs were too. And so we were one of the first pubs, and we had obviously we had Guinness and Harp, made by the Guinness Company, and we at that time served a lot of Guinness, so much so that in fact the Guinness Company said that we sold more Guinness than any other pub in the United States at the time. So we have that award, that claim to fame, and my friends and I maybe can take a little credit for achieving that remarkable award. In any case, the Guinness people used to send my parents over free to Dublin for their travels to Ireland because they supported the Guinness trade so much.
Wow.
So that's another nice story. And Boston is now full of Irish pubs, full of Irish singers, and many of the old Irish singers that I knew then are retired or gone, but they still live with me, and some nice memories.
Well, I had written a poem that I would recite when we had our St. Patrick's Day, and so I'll try to remember it and recite it here. And it goes, a nip of Irish whiskey, the taste of bright green beer, revelry with friends I haven't seen in o'er a year. The grip of cold and dreary days has been most unkind. On St. Patrick's Day is finally when we leave winter behind. Though my background is not Irish, my presence here, no one's a damning. As long as I speak of the little people and mention potato famine. So let's raise our glasses in a toast, kiss that old Blarney Stone. It's St. Patrick's Day in Brasstown with all of the folks at home.
Hey. Well done.
Thank you. I guess I've got a joke.
Uh-oh.
This guy bursts into Dr. Mitchell's office, and he runs up to the receptionist and said, I got to see Dr. Mitchell right now. I think I'm shrinking. I might be turning into a leprechaun. And the receptionist says, well, I'm sorry, it's St. Patrick's Day, and Dr. Mitchell isn't here. And he said, I'm shrinking. What am I going to do? And the receptionist said, well, I guess you'll just have to be a little patient.
By the way, these jokes you can share with your friends, and you don't need to say our names. You can just tell them.
Okay. I think we're at the point where Tora Lura.
Yeah,
Tora Lura.
we're going to sing an Irish lullaby. Pete and I have done this for many years.
Back in old Killarney, many years ago, me mother sang a song to me
in tones so sweet and low, just a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way. And I'd give the world if she could sing that song to me this day. Tora Lura Lura, Tora Lura Tora Lura Lura.
St. Patrick's Day, everyone. That's our Morningsong celebration. But as we end, I was going to just mention one thing. Please remember the Folk School is going to celebrate its 100th anniversary in just a couple years. And within that time span, it survived 6 wars, the Great Depression, the Great Recession, and a global pandemic. And so let's make sure we all contribute to make sure the Folk School continues to provide artistic inspiration, collaboration, and celebrations through the music and dance for at least another 100 years. And thanks a lot for being part of our St. Patrick's Day Morningsong.
Amen.
Thank you.